Tupac says, I got the game in Oakland. Someone woke it up inside me like a religion. If you're open and willing to learn, you can learn a lot from Oakland.
I think of civic engagement as how do we meet people where we are? How do we have conversations with people who are our neighbors? Understandings of the places that they live. Understand people's relationship to gentrification. Understanding the changes in their community.
One of our most successful things is building relationship with park staff, building relationship with the park's nonprofit arm, building relationship with local residents, building relationships with other Indigenous community organizations. The awareness of our story grows to the point that it can't be ignored.
Human beings tend to understand things through stories. The facts come along for the ride. I think the biggest challenge is often talking about audience. Like, they want you to create the art, they want you to create the piece, or they have some kind of idea of what they want you to do, but I'm always kind of pushing them to think about who is the audience.
We can really open the door for more people. I definitely make it my mission to diversify the authorship of the projects. I feel responsible to make sure that the artwork is something that, especially when I was working within housing and affordable housing and thinking about who is living in these spaces, and what will it mean for them to see these pieces of art every day when they're walking through their buildings. And I wanted the art to be something that they could really connect to and see themselves in.
Art is an opportunity for people to feel like they belong, to create a space for community to come together and to celebrate the different cultures within that particular city or community. The more people come out and connect with one another, communities then become more sufficient within their own ecosystems.
Most of our work is building those relationships. I think the power of relationship, the power of community is really the essence, and leveraging your story, of being who you are and in your authenticity of the power of it.
There's a lot of importance in learning from these very, very local stories that don't make it into the newspaper, that are not part of a study, that aren't in any books. How do we understand how we're neighbors together? Who deserves to have the title as neighbor?
I'm a power wheelchair user, and that affects a lot of how I interact with the world, especially our built environment. I feel like I'm constantly having to advocate to be included in a lot of things, and it's really exhausting. I have to do the labor of advocating, and so I feel excluded from the art world in my community in the Bay Area. There was a time at the beginning of the pandemic when everybody was like, we're going to protect each other. We're going to make things more accessible. And it feels like a lot of the accessibility and inclusion and the mentality of we protect each other has actually decreased. And maybe it's gotten even worse now.
Have these ideas of artists, like it's such a dichotomy. It's like you're either starving or you're on every billboard and you're super famous, and there's like no like in between of just like people being able to pay their bills and working in the community.
We really want to find an artist as local as possible to where we're developing in this neighborhood. I think a lot of people don't hear about the projects and they don't know what's going on, especially if it's with private developers. Artists maybe are not thinking about that, and that's where a lot of the commissions come from.
There's so many layers to labor that we do as artists, and many of those layers are unpaid, and artists were expected to apply to a bunch of grants and apply to residencies and apply to shows. And none of that's guaranteed income. It's really hard to keep up with all of the administrative labor, especially when it also includes advocacy for accessibility.
People who are choosing the art or commissioning the art need to have a little bit more of an open mind about it, because sometimes it's like, well, they don't have the experience. You can open the door for more people and people with different levels of education and experience and perspectives. If you kind of like give a chance to people who don't have as much experience, and that might mean more work for the art administrator because you're gonna have to figure it out with them and maybe walk them through things a little more and project manage a little harder.
You have to move at the speed of trust. I created a program as soon as I started here. I immediately connected that program with the city's goals to lower the carbon impact of the city by 2030 to be carbon neutral. That's the KPI. And I had to also look at other ways that city objectives from elected leadership, which included things like safe neighborhoods, vibrancy, like an opportunity economy from our mayor to our council members. There's a really big mandate for them to create a vibrant downtown and an opportunity area, an opportunity city, especially for creative entrepreneurs.
How a city budget is defined leads to a lot of siloing of departments. And so I would love to see a city like Oakland have housing and well-being at, say, the top of the pyramid of their organizing principles, and that every other sector fall within that paradigm. And I think that it could change how budgets are assigned if we prioritize health, well-being, and housing first.